Hello, and welcome to. Wait a minute. No. Wait. Turn that back up. I gotta. This is not right. Nope. There we go. I was fezless and naked. It's weird, and I was wearing my other hat. It's not my live hat. So I'm going to turn this down. As I do, hello and welcome to this week's episode of Cocktales with Tiki King, episode 13. 13 weeks we've been coming here live, coming to you, from me here to you there. And so today's kind of a new, different one. Well, no, it's probably not going to be any different than usual. It'll just be me spouting nonsense like I always do. But today is kind of a special day. It's Hunter S. Thompson Day. Back in 2005, it's 12 years now. A bullet passed through him and took him away from us. One of the greatest living Americans ever. But it's kind of funny that my show happens to fall on the anniversary of his passing. He would have been 80 years old today. And so it got me thinking. I was thinking. So I said to myself, asking myself in the form of a question. I said, so what would Thompson be drinking? What would if he were here and I was watching him do what I do, would I be as embarrassed as usual? But so I thought about it, and I thought, okay, well, what did Thompson drink, and why? And pretty much everything. He drank. He was pretty good at it. I gotta say, he was pretty good at it. And so he drank a lot of different things. And if he was here today, 80 years old, he'd probably either not be here today, or he'd probably be drinking a snow cone, which was one of his favorite drinks. A snow cone was a tumbler full of crushed ice and Chivas. But prior to that, one of the things that he drank, wild turkey, still one of my favorites. And so I started earlier because, like I always do. But so I was thinking, what did Thompson drink? Because, best to follow by example of the leader who leads by example. So what did he drink? He drank wild turkey. He drank rum, margaritas, chartreuse, Chivas, beer, Bloody Marys, tequilas. He pretty much drank whatever he had, I think. But he had a penchant for whiskey, as do a lot of us. And but I started thinking, well, yeah, you can just drink whiskey. That's good. Put over. You can drink it, straight over ice, however you want, whatever you want to do. It's a. Do you see anyone who read the Rum Diaries? He even talks about drinking warm rum out of a dirty glass. So, yeah, you can just go ahead, fill yourself up a glass of something good, chug it down, repeat. Good for you. It works. But one of the things is that, the difference between the difference between genius and madness is marketability. And Thompson was able to market his own brand of madness. And we look at it as genius, not because it wasn't, but because otherwise he would have just been, writing to himself, which is amusing in those dark times. But other times, you got to get it out. Got to get it out to the masses and let them participate in on the madness. Because without it, what do we got? We got people doing their jobs. We got people riding the bus and, going back and forth. And no, they got to do that. They got to get in on the madness. And so I started thinking about it. I thought, okay, well, what should we talk about tonight? And it came to me one of his early works. one of Thompson's early works, he was actually hired to cover the Kentucky Derby. And obviously I'm not going to read the whole story because we don't have time for that. Because I got a French dip waiting for me at home after I finish this business here. So, but I'm going to read a little bit of Hunter S. Thompson. And he's talking about how him and Ralph Steadman went to the tracks to kind of check out the layout to get ready to write this article for, I believe it was Esquire, about the Kentucky Derby. So this is them there beforehand. I pointed to the huge grassy meadow enclosed by the track. That whole thing, I said, will be jammed with people, 50,000 or so, most of them staggering drunk. It's a fantastic scene. Thousands of people fainting, crying, copulating, trampling each other, and fighting with broken whiskey bottles. We'll have to spend some time out there. It's hard to move, too many bodies. Is it safe out there? Will we ever come back? Sure, I said. We'll just have to be careful not to step on anyone's stomach and start a fight. I shrugged. Hell, this clubhouse scene right below us will be almost as bad as the infield. Thousands of raving, stumbling drunks getting angrier and angrier as they lose more and more money. By mid-afternoon, they'll be guzzling mint juleps with both hands and vomiting on each other between races. So now we come to the key, the crux, the heart of the matter. Now, I haven't for some time, but I used to have Kentucky Derby parties every year. We would put them on at our house, and we had a whole horse racing deal, and we gave out trophies, and people wore big hats, and we drank mint juleps. And that's where I crafted my recipe for the mint julep, was those Kentucky Derby parties. And I'll tell you, there was a lot of experimentation involved in that. And we were drinking them by the pint. And I'll tell you, by the end of some of those nights, there was we were out painting the woods beige, as it were. But so anyway, so the mint julep. What is a mint julep? Have you ever had one? You guys out there, have you had mint juleps? Anyone? Well, I have, and they're good. And I'll tell you, some people have now taken mojitos were a big deal. I don't know if they're still a big deal because I don't do that sort of thing so much. But the mojito is basically a mint julep made with rum instead of bourbon, which is the way God intended it. So if you want to be a sinner and go to hell, drink mojitos. But if you want to party with me, I'll show you how to make a mint julep the way I would make it. If I were to make one, which it just so happens I'm going to. So mint julep. So mojito is mint julep. Only you put in a little bit of lime. You put in rum. It's a different thing, but it's the same thing. I talk about that all the time. Cocktails, different thing, same thing. So, what do you say? Should we make a mint julep? What do you guys think? Yeah, I thought so. I think you guys are with me. I think we're of like mind here. I think we think that we're like minded. So, what do we need for a mint julep? Well, we're going to need a glass. Oh, that's not filled with wild turkey. But it will be again later. Don't worry. Don't you cry. Don't get sad. Don't get upset. So, what is a mint julep? Well, mint and julep. What does julep even mean? For God's sake, what julep? It's like somebody who with a mouthful of beer caps trying to say something. Julep. So julep, a mint julep. So juleps are basically alcohol and sugar, and they were originally, I guess, made to help the medicine go down, because a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. You add in a little mint, and it makes your breath fresh, and keeps you from being quite as nauseous from the laudanum. Which, I'm just saying. So mint julep, what are we doing here? Let's put in I got fresh mint here. It's like a bouquet of double mint gum, which, strangely enough, here in Santa Cruz, which is just down the street, was the Wrigley's factory where they made double mint gum. So there you go. Weird sort of tie-in that nobody cares about. So, mint. Okay, let's do this thing. throw some mint leaves in there. I'm going to throw in like 10 mint leaves. I should do, this is episode 13. I'm going to do this one's for you guys. I'm going to do 13 mint leaves because it's episode 13, and can you really go wrong? Maybe. All right, so mint leaves in a glass. This is a double old-fashioned glass, which you can use a Collins glass. You can use I guess mint juleps traditionally were served in a silver cup, and you were supposed to hold it there was like a whole thing of how you held it because you wanted the outside to get frosty and cold, and if you held it with your hands, if you held it double-handed and swirled it down like they're talking about it, like Thompson was talking about, then you warm it up and you don't do that. So we got mint leaves in the glass. I went out earlier and procured myself a dime bag of white stuff. Yeah. 100 be proud. No, this is sugar. We're going to put in about a teaspoon. And you're thinking, how do you know how much that is? Careful, careful measuring. I'm a scientist. When I'm not being a doctor or a reverend, I'm a physicist who specializes in lying. So we're going to take that. We got the sugar in there. We got the leaves. We're going to muddle it. Do you know what muddling is? That's when you get in other people's business. No, it's meddling. So muddling is where you crush stuff up together. And some people say, oh, don't do that. And the reason is, they say you're bruising the mint leaves. And I say, yeah, I'd put them in a goddamn blender if I had one here. But that's a whole different subject for a whole different time. So, and you may have noticed I'm using a hammer as my muddler, because sometimes when you want to get hammered, use a hammer. Makes sense to me. So, all right. So we've got the mint leaves in there. We got some sugar. Now this is the part where some people will put in a little bit of water. And I know last time we talked about that because alcohol doesn't like to dissolve sugar as well. But here's the deal. We're adding in these botanicals. We're adding in chlorophyll and all sorts of other ingredients that are in the mint leaves with our muddling. And it actually is okay because it gives you a little bit of a simple syrup reaction. Whereas if you were just using straight alcohol and sugar, not so much. Bitters don't have enough oils. They don't have enough organic properties to really dissolve the sugar and make a simple mint syrup. But the mint leaves, when you're muddling them, and the booze and the whatnot and so forth, and the other stuff too, and the whatnot. So there we have basically now a simple syrup of mint leaves and sugar. And if you're going to be having a derby party and gambling a lot and forgetting how much stuff you used in drinks and not wanting to count leaves, you can actually do what I've done before, which is you take your blender, throw in a boatload of sugar and a whole thing of just like throw the whole thing of mint in there, but wash it first. Throw that in there, blend it up, make a green paste, put that in a little bit of boiling water, make mint syrup. Then you don't have to do anything. You can just and then get your friends drunk, and they'll lose money, and that's good because you're the house, and you stand only to win. So remember, Tiki King says, make simple syrup, get rich quick. So, all right. So now we've got mint leaves, syrup, sugar, stuff, nonsense. Now, I would say if you've got the wherewithal, does anyone out there have wherewithal? I'm out of wherewithal. So, if you have the wherewithal, you're going to want to use pretty finely crushed ice. Put that in there too, for good luck. I have like moderately crushed ice. I crushed it with the same hammer that I used as a muddler. But that's okay. That's why we're here. And now we're going to put in about, I don't know. I want to put in like 2.5 ounces of booze. Bourbon. 2.5 ounces of bourbon. I'm going to stir that up. And if I did this right, I'm not only going to be plastered later, but I'll have minty fresh breath, which is always a bonus. That's pretty good. Not quite as good. You know, with the mint julep, that you can. There's some recipes call for soda water or spring water. If you happen to have springs and you can do an infusion of springs and water, hey, good for you. But so some recipes call for spring water or soda water. If you want to do that, I'm not going to yell at you for it. But here's the deal. It's pretty good on its own. But, you know, try it, add a little water, experiment, have a good time. Don't let the man get you down. I'm telling you. So there we go. The mint julep. Oh, that's lovely. It really is. But I'll tell you something. So Hunter and Ralph went down and they covered the Derby, Kentucky Derby, and it went all kinds of sideways. And I'll tell you, I don't know if it was all because of the mint juleps, but I'm sure they played a part. And at the end of it all, Ralph said, "There goes my bat skeleton. You goddamn filthy animals. You deserve to be down there in the depths of the front of the bar." So at the end of the Kentucky Derby, the story is called the Kentucky Derby, the Tofurkey Burgie is Merton Slope. It's called The Kentucky Derby is Decadent and Depraved. Check it out. It's a great read. But at the end of it, spoiler alert. If you want to read it and you're one of those people that doesn't want to know about what happens at the end, stop listening. Plug your ears and make them like the with the ears plugged. Okay. So when it came down to it, Ralph, reflecting upon the time they'd had at the Kentucky Derby, said, "We came down here to see this tenable scene. People all pissed out of their minds and vomiting on themselves and all that. And now, you know what? It is us." So, that's what I have to say to you tonight. I want you to go out there and make mint juleps, or snow cones, or just drink tequila or chartreuse. Give a toast to Hunter, man. Because he went to places that we may never be able to go. But at least he wrote it down so that we can read about it. So I'm going to leave you tonight. Well, I'm sure. At first, I'm going to go through some other stuff because here's the deal. So I want to say thank you all for coming here tonight and for coming here every Tuesday night if you do. And if this is your first night, well, go back, go to YouTube. It's on my Facebook page. Go to YouTube, go back and watch all the other ones. They may not be very good, but they are there. And I can promise you that you can use at least, I think it's an hour and a half worth of time now between whatever things you're supposed to be doing instead watching me on the internet. So anyway, thank you for coming here every Tuesday night and joining me in this madness. And I hope to see you guys out there in the real world where you can buy me a drink and we can have madness in person. But until then, I want to say thank you all. Thank you everybody who's my Patreon supporters, everybody who comes to my website. I want you to visit a couple of websites, by the way. Go to tikiking.com, check it out. Go to tikiking.info. Check that out even more. Join the Tiki King Paradise Club and get cool stuff. Go to my blog, which is linked off of something. I don't know, it's blogspot.com, but it's Tiki King at blogspot.com, and you can read my own particular brand of madness ramblings. So go check those things out. And thank you to everyone. Thank you to my wife, Julie. Thank you to my producer, Maggie. Thank you to everyone who keeps this show up and running. Thank you to Wild Turkey and to all the booze makers. Distillers? I don't know. Why don't you sponsor me, you goddamn filthy animals? Make this whole thing worthwhile. So, Anyway, so now that I'm done with all that stuff, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you with a toast. And I want you to go wherever you are, go get some booze. I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to pretend I have a watch on. I'm going to give you a minute to go get some booze because I think we should have a toast. Now I'm thinking about toast. Do you guys like toast? I like donuts more than toast. I don't know. Sourdough toast is pretty good. It is. I like sourdough toast with jam, marmalade. I never used to like it. Do you have booze yet? Are you? Hopefully you've already been drinking it. You're like, this goddamn Tiki King ruins my evening every Tuesday. Yet I keep coming back like some sort of weird masochistic draw, like bees to a drunken hive. Because the queen commands you. What does that make me now? I don't know. Maybe I should think these things out further. I should follow them to their logical conclusions sometimes. But I don't, and neither should you. But hopefully now you all have your booze. Do you have your drink? I can't see. There should be an icon for drinks floating by on that camera thing. So I can see, so people are like, like the little hearts that pop up, they float by. Should be like a thing of drinks floating by. Boop, 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 like that. With the boop, boop, boop sound. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, do we have drinks? Let's have a toast. And this is direct from Hunter himself, from beyond the grave, man. Let us toast to animal pleasures, to escapism, to rain on the roof and instant coffee, to unemployment insurance and library cards, to absinthe and good-hearted landlords, to music and warm bodies and contraceptives, and to the good life, whatever that is, and wherever it happens to be. Good night, you goddamn filthy animals.